Good evening, Gemini. How are you? I am Nayenda. If you're new here, I am going to be your tarotist for tonight. We are going to be pulling a prediction for the month of September for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and North Node. So do make sure that you are familiar with your natal chart and those placements. I'm going to try my best to get a message for career, finance, and for romance. Some of the signs were very adamant that I talked about romance, so of course, depending on whatever comes out, Gemini, I'm not going to stop the flow or the channel regardless of whatever the message is that comes out. So just make sure that if this goes into a topic that you weren't trying to hear, Gemini, to check your other placements as well, okay? I'm already kind of getting, okay. Before I start with that, I do want to deeply encourage you. I will be doing an extended reading for this reading. It will be available on my Patreon, which is only $9.99 a month. $9, not $999, okay? And on my Patreon, you'll have access to all extended readings. You'll have access to all extra content that I make. I am pretty neck deep in esoteric studies right now, so hopefully I'll be able to actually share some gems with you guys soon. Apart from that, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, the information on how to do so and my rates are in the bio below. And if you'd like to buy me a little cafecito, you know, I'd appreciate that too. So anyways, I think I went through my entire spiel, Gemini, so we'll get right into it. I heard something about, I'm hearing that TikTok sound from the Backyardigans. It's like something about being super spies, super spies. I loved that show when I was growing up. I was way too old to be watching it, but Backyardigans had the bops. But I'm hearing somebody is trying to be an ultra mega super sly super spy. So I'm not sure if that's you, Gemini, or if that's somebody else with you. Of course, Gemini is a mercurial sign. It's ruled by Mercury, excuse me. So by nature, there is the energy of collecting information in your sign as it is, but there's also the energy of getting overwhelmed with information. I'm saying that as somebody with their, well, anyway, we'll get right into it, Gemini. So let's go ahead and see what we're talking about. I mean, sleuth. Maybe you're doing something sneakily, like you're trying to be slick with it. You're not trying to get caught. You're not trying to get caught up in the bullshit, baby. What energy do we have for Gemini for the month of September? I'm hearing backstab her and then stab her. I'm hearing a lot of TikTok sounds, Gemini. Maybe you're trying to go viral on TikToks, but somebody is a backstab her, or somebody's like that's what I'm getting right away. I have grief and then truth for you, Gemini. And then, okay, I don't want to throw this word out there like all willy-nilly, because truth is here and she's looking at herself in the mirror. But for whatever reason, this reminded me of the myth of Narcissus. It is a Greek myth where the man Narcissus was so enamored by his reflection that he ends up falling in. I think he ends up dying too. So you could be dealing with a narcissist, Gemini. I'm hoping that that's not you, but of course we're all growing and learning, okay? Sometimes people aren't like pathologically narcissistic. Sometimes motherfuckers are just very self-centered, and they're not. It's not pathological. They can change it. They can fix it. But I am getting that you're being forced to face some kind of truth, and it's making you sad in the month of September, Gemini. And it's making you sad. You're grieving something. Some of you guys may be pregnant right now or trying to get pregnant. There's also that energy here as well. But there's something, either if it's not that, maybe something has come to fruition and it wasn't what you wanted it to be. For some of you guys, you might have cast a spell of some sort, like a truth spell. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you cast a truth spell or something along those lines of trying to find out what was going on to the bottom of something, and then the truth came out. And maybe the truth wasn't what you wanted it to be, Gemini. Maybe you were hoping the truth would be a little bit different, and then the truth just ends up being something totally, like maybe your worst nightmare, maybe exactly what it is that you were suspicious of turned out to be true. Yeah, there's something here. But it's also kind of giving the energy, Gemini, where like whatever happened, there was a lesson for you to learn something about yourself in it. It's like maybe you didn't want to face the truth in something because maybe facing the truth about something meant having to accept something about yourself. And of course we're going to get into what this is about, right? Like this could be anything, but it's like maybe something that you weren't ready to accept because it meant that you would have to either make a change in yourself or make a move in a certain direction. And like maybe intuitively, like you kind of knew that that was coming, right? It's like now you're being forced to do it. And that's really heavy, Gemini. And I'm really sorry that you're going. I don't know exactly what it's pertaining to. Of course, we're going to get into it. But I just finished my Saturn return, and I can tell you right now, that shit was ghetto. There was a whole lot of truth I was not trying to face. Of course, if your Saturn return will be around the time that you're 27, 28. Of course, you're following Vedic astrology. Technically speaking, I just started my Saturn return. Shit feels easier, so we're gonna say it's over. But in Eastern astrology, technically speaking, I just started my Saturn return, and I am 29. So it's like somewhere between 27 and 29 is around the time that your Saturn return happens. And that's when a lot of, especially for women, I've heard that the Uranus return is a little bit more intense for men. But for the Saturn return, it's very intense for women, and you start having to face things about yourself, things about your upbringing, and Saturn is specifically going to test you in whatever sign and house it occupies. So for example, with me, I am a Saturn in Aquarius native in the 4th house, which means that I have been, my upbringing by nature was already very estranged from society, very outlandish. I wasn't brought up the same way that most people were brought up, so I have a very distinct perspective on the world. But it also, because the 4th house is the house of the mother, it leads to some mommy issues, and I already had daddy issues. So like I had to go through a whole overhaul of my upbringing, my religious upbringing, what happened with me in childhood, and all of that during my Saturn return, and all of that because Saturn actually directly affected my career points. Was to help me get on track for my destiny. So you might not realize this, Gemini, but whatever you're going through, it's leading you closer to your destiny and where you're supposed to be, okay? I'm hearing nominated. Okay, some of you guys might find out that you're nominated for something. Good for you. Let's go ahead and get into it, Gemini. So what energy or what can Gemini expect in the month of September? Now I'm hearing, wake me up when September ends. So September might be a little bit harder for you, Gemini. I'm hearing a benefactor. So somebody might die, like with the wake me up. That song was actually written by Billy Joel. Billy Joel. Anyways, by the lead singer of Green Day. I swear to God, I mix his name up with another singer all the time. But he wrote that song because his dad passed away in September. So either some of you guys could be mourning in September, like maybe this is the anniversary of somebody that died. Of course, we have grief here, right? So it could even be that you're currently grieving, or maybe somebody ends up passing away in the month of September. Okay, I have to make a phone call after this reading. Somebody might pass away in the month of September. And for some of you guys, you might actually receive, like I said, benefactor. So for some, this is very specific. For some of you guys, you might actually like receive money from a will. I'm hearing, or a deed, a will or a deed that you're able to kind of take with you and then move away with it. Some of you guys might find yourself, oh, I forgot to say this. So Mercury is currently retrograde in Virgo. So if you are a Gemini rising, let me see, I have to find where Pisces is at. So, okay, and I will do it this way. Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo. So it's going to be in your 4th house, just like I talked about my Saturn return. Mercury retrograde is going to be in your 4th house, and that's also the foundation. That's also the house of the mother. That's a lot of different things. So with like some of you guys could become caretakers with the Virgo energy. I don't know. I'm not going to make you think too much about that, but some of you guys could really be reflecting on how you were brought up, and reflecting on what values you were taught, and reflecting on what's important to you based on what you were taught in childhood for the next couple of weeks. That's just covering Mercury retrograde, but let's go ahead and keep getting into this. So What is this pertaining to? Some of you guys could even be moving back in with your family. Yeah. If this isn't a death in the family, then this could also be something ending. Like, for example, this could like manifest itself in you maybe getting fired from a job and releasing severance pay. So it could be like you get fired from a job, or you get let go from a job, and then you receive like a severance package. So it's like, here's this, you know, live your best life. Sorry that you can't work with us anymore. You don't have a job anymore. It's like something like that. But there's something that's going on in the month of September, Gemini. It could even be something pertaining to something about your family is coming through here. So for some of you guys, you could experience a death in the family. For others of you guys, you could be moving back home with your family, and maybe like some of your family members might not. Some of you guys, your family might. For some of you, I'm hearing they might ask you for money a lot. For others of you, I'm getting that they might feel like, for some of you guys, maybe you tried to move out on your own and like prove you're independent, and like maybe just you couldn't get a hold of it. And the economy is trash right now, Gemini, but like maybe you couldn't get a handle on your finances or your responsibilities or something like that, and that's forcing you to move back with like your family, or maybe like with your parents. And maybe some of you guys were portraying yourself as having a lot more than you did, and now like you're moving back in with your parents. Can I get clarity on this? I'm getting a storyline for some of you guys, which it will sound a little bit harsh, and I don't mean for it to, but it's like maybe some of you guys were a little bit more concerned with the facade of success or appearing successful than actually doing the work to become successful. So maybe some of you got, take this where it resonates, Gemini. We have Sagittarius energy coming through here too. But it's like you're being forced to be balanced and to take action on something because of something you weren't taking action on in the past. Okay, Gemini? I'm not here to give sugar-coated messages. I'm just here to convey what I see in the cards. But what it kind of looks like here is you bit off more than you could chew financially is what I'm hearing. But let's just say the storyline that I'm getting for some of you guys is that some of you guys bit off more than you could chew financially. And it was like, maybe you thought a job was going to go differently, or maybe you thought that you were going to be able to afford something, or maybe you thought something like specifically financially was going to go in your favor, and it didn't. And maybe you already started telling people, like maybe before you got a call back from a job, for example, you were telling people, oh, I got this job, it pays like $45 an hour and da-da-da-da-da, right? And then you get the call back from the job and they're like, hey, we went for somebody else. And then now there's this pressure of like, oh, well, I already told everybody I was making this money. So either I have to, one, tell them that I jumped the gun and told them too soon, which is really embarrassing, isn't it? I've done that a couple times. Not like with the job, but like I've spoken too soon on something. But like you told everybody about this job and you were like, it's gonna go like this and it's gonna go phenomenal and blah, 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 right? Before you even knew for sure that it was going to happen, Gemini, and then it didn't happen. And then now it's like, everybody's like, oh, hey, how's that job going? Or hey, whatever like that. And like, meanwhile, you're like having to move out of your apartment because you can't afford it anymore. You gotta move back in with your parents, and you told your parents you were getting paid this money, and it was like, it's kind for whoever this is for, it's like, it's all crashing down now. And it's like, yeah, that's what it feels like. I just want to tell you, Gemini, when I was like 25 years old, this isn't the exact same thing, but like when I was 25, I had to move back home too. I couldn't move with my parents because of religious reasons, but I did have to move back home temporarily. And although it wasn't necessarily because my family, they weren't like, I never made it seem like I had more going on than I did, but I had been living on my own for about 5 years up until that point, because I moved out like at 19. So it was like at that point in time, I think that they had kind of assumed that everything was kosher at that point. And I went through a mental health crisis, really is what it came down to, and then that affected my ability to work, and then I ended up having to move like long distance. So I was, they didn't know about what was going on though, but I was in Toronto, and then I was in Jersey, and then I got kicked out of Jersey, and then I was in Delaware. And then I had something traumatic happen in Delaware, and then I just couldn't get back up psychologically. I just couldn't recoup from it, and I ended up having to get everything and then move back home with my family. And it was only temporary, but I did have to do that. And that's kind of what I'm getting here, Gemini. It's like maybe, especially like if you're in your 20s, all of us really want to seem like we have our shit together. Just to be fair, Gemini, the economy is shitty for all of us, okay? As your millennial friend, the housing market, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's a lot of shit that's just going on that's just not in our favor economically speaking. But just make sure you're not biting off more than you could chew, especially in the month of September. November, I'm hearing, could be significant as well. Can I have further clarity on what Gemini can expect in the month of September? Yeah, we have heavy grief. Some of you guys are really... Yeah, there's a lot of emotions coming out, Gemini. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that was the message for career and finance. I'm not going to beat you over the head with that one because that one wasn't too positive. But what's the advice that we have for Gemini for career and finance? I'm hearing something about moving on. Yeah, okay. So Gemini, for a lot of you guys, you need to make sure that you're not rushing. You're not rushing into things, especially like little gigs here and there. Like, make sure that you're thoroughly thinking through the messages that you get. Make sure that you're thinking through your plans and shit, okay? Don't start acting out and acting all, you know what I'm saying? Don't spend money frivolously. Just try to be logical as possible, okay? Let's go ahead and get a quick love reading, and then we'll get into your extended. So what can Gemini expect for love in the month of September? So we have the Ace of Swords coming out, okay. September might just not be your month, Gemini. So some of you guys are going to learn the truth about something that was going nowhere. Like something in a situation that you had invested time and energy in that is going nowhere. You might learn that it wasn't going to go anywhere. This could be tied into your message though. Can I have clarity for this for Gemini? I'm at 17 minutes. Clarity on this for love for Gemini. So some of you guys could be wanting a new beginning with somebody, like maybe there was a lot of fighting or arguments, or this could also be you giving up. Clarity on this energy for Gemini. Yeah, something isn't going anywhere. And there's some form of insecurity. I'm hearing cruelty. There's cruelty in this. You could be dealing with an Aries? Or an Aquarius? Somebody is really insecure or jealous though, Gemini. I don't know if this is you or like a third party. Somebody's like really jealous and insecure, and it's stagnated something, or it's stagnating something. Whoever this person is that's jealous or insecure throws a lot of fits. Clarity on this for Gemini. I'm gonna get a couple more cards, and if it keeps going like this, there's arguments coming through here. Yeah, you know what, Gemini? We're gonna go ahead and take this into the extended. I'm already at 20 minutes. We're gonna take this into the extended and get messages about what's going on in your love life in the month of September, what you can expect. I am getting something about a third party situation, quite possibly. There's a lot of arguing, but we're gonna get into it. So I will see you over there on my Patreon. Sending you lots of love, Gemini. If this resonated with you, I'm really sorry that you're going through all of this, but you can only go up from here, right? So anyways, thanks for coming back. I will see you on my Patreon for the extended, and if not, then I will see you next time. Bye.